Hello, I'm Linda Seith from The Layered Onion. Thank you for joining us. We will be listening to our amazing creators talk about their art and mental health. 48 million artists all over the world share this lived experience. The Layered Onion was formed to create a supportive community, allowing the creators to focus on their art, bringing their work from the shadows to receive the recognition and opportunities they deserve. Each podcast will feature an artist who talks about their work and mental wellness. Art is healing. We hope these discussions will inspire you to appreciate the stories behind the creations and, more importantly, inspire your inner creator. Together, we can tackle the stigma around mental health.
Could we just walk?
Hi, everyone. My name is Martina Collender. I'm a published award-winning queer disabled playwright, poet and writer, and I live in County Waterford at the end of the Cumber Mountains in Ireland.
Well, that's lovely. I've been to Ireland. It's many years ago, but I hitchhiked to Ireland when I was a younger soul.
Wow, I'd say that was a beautiful experience.
It was. I have an uncle. He's passed now, but his last name was Doolin, and his family was from Doolin, Doolin.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had to go visit. So anyway, so maybe you talked a little bit about being a playwright, a poet, an author. Maybe you could talk a little bit. How did you get there? How did you become an author and playwright?
So I left school very early. I left school at 14 because I just felt like the education system wasn't for me. I think it's for a very specific student, and unless you fit into that category, you're not going to excel or achieve anything. And then at 16, I joined Waterford Youth Arts, which is a youth theatre here in Waterford. And I kind of fell in love with theatre, but I couldn't act. So the artistic director, Ollie Breslin, kind of gave me a nudge towards writing plays. So I began doing that. And then my love for writing grew into my love of spoken word, poetry, prose, fiction, and nonfiction. And I was just really lucky over the past 15 years. I've been mentored by so many amazing artists, people like Jim Nolan, Ben Hennessy, Ollie Breslin, Lee Marr, Joe Marr. So I've just been really lucky with the opportunities that landed on my door.
Oh, that sounds lovely. So if you think about your art today, when you first joined the theater to now, what are the things that continue to pull you in and continue your path as a writer and playwright?
I think one thing that's remained constant in the last 15 years is my desire and need to write about equality for men and women, for those a part of the LGBTQ plus I community, and those who suffer with mental illness and disabilities. I just have such a passion that we as a society should make the world a fair game and accessible to everyone, regardless of what issues they might have.
So you were published in actually both issues of the Shallot, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the second issue, where the focus was on activities and hobbies, and the title of your piece was Tangled Thoughts. Can you kind of describe how this piece came about?
So about 16 months ago, I suffered a mental breakdown. I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And one of the things that I think came as a bit of a shock to me that society doesn't really talk about is just how sick you get and how much you need to rest. I would compare having a mental breakdown to cancer, in that it's as debilitating and shocking to your system. And when I was very sick and I was was resting, I found I couldn't do anything that I really loved to do, like reading or writing. And I just found audiobooks such a joy to me, and something that I was able to do while I was resting in bed, to just turn on an audiobook and disappear for an hour or two and forget my own troubles. So the piece is about the joy of turning on an audiobook and kind of disappearing. Like I devoured the Harry Potter audiobooks because they were the books of my childhood, and it just gave me such a warm, nostalgic feeling.
So many of us love those books.
Yeah, they're amazing. They reared a generation, you know?
Yeah, it is amazing. Would you mind reading your poem for us?
Yeah, 2 seconds and I'll just get it up there now. Um, I was actually very honoured to be chosen twice for Shalat. It meant the world to me.
We've had such a strong response both times. This time, the number of submissions really grew, and suspect that will continue to happen. So it was very exciting.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see what you do in the future. It's so very exciting. And this is my piece. It's called Tangled Thoughts. When your mind is cluttered and your thoughts are tangled, and the past will not let you rest, the present a gift of poison, the future impossible. With comments and memories, questions and anger, agonies, failures and messes you've made, when the evil thoughts come, making you feel worthless and numb, when your mind won't give you time to rest or even cry, I hope you don't mind. I recommend not quite a cure or a fix, but something that helps me when my mind is ill, is turning on an audiobook and allowing the soothing voice to lead you to a land of fantasy where the characters you know so well, they're friends. You can walk through a life that's not yours, that you can borrow for a little while. I promise it will help untangle your thoughts.
So I was so struck with this piece, Martina, because so many of us have what I would call a comfort book.
Yes.
And it's a book we go to when we're just not feeling well, not feeling, in our best spot. And it is exactly as you said, where with the characters you know so well, they're friends that you can walk through a life. And I just love the visual, because that's exactly how a comfort book, or for some people, a comfort show is, that you can, the lines, but it's all about sort of the cadence and the, I don't know, maybe you can describe what you were thinking of when you were talking about that particular idea.
Absolutely. Like that, for me, there's no doubt in my mind that fictional characters, whether they be on a TV show or in a book, are our friends, because we conjure them up in our imagination and we know exactly how they're going to react. And it's those moments of how they do react to the world that make us fall in love with them. And the great wonder of art, whether it be a TV show or music or a book, is that you can relive those moments again and again and again. And it could just bring such comfort to you to just step back into a friend's life one more time.
Yeah, and there's just something about knowing what's going to happen that takes the pressure off, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's anxieties about new shows. For example, for the minute I'm rewatching Scrubs, and there's some beautiful, heartbreaking episodes in that series. But because I know what's coming, I'm prepared. So I still might have a little cry, but it won't devastate me as the first time.
My family makes fun of me because with new shows that have a lot of anxiety or buildup, I always have to go on Wikipedia or something and read the plot.
Yes, I'm the exact same. You know the way people say, "Oh, don't ruin a film or a show for me." I'm like, ruin it, tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just too much angst for me.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, as someone who has anxiety, I just that's why comfort books mean so much for me. So, is your comfort book Harry Potter?
Yes, definitely. I was quite lucky because I turned 11 the same year that Harry turned 11 and went to Hogwarts. So I saw the film when it came out when it was 11. So I grew up with Harry. And my mammy got me a Harry Potter Hogwarts uniform, which I wore to all the book launches and all the film launches right up until I was 19 or something crazy like that.
So, which house did you think you would have been in?
I like to think I'd be a Gryffindor, but I think the truth is I'm a Hufflepuff.
We laugh about that because I think I
Yes,
would have been a Hufflepuff too.
yes,
But I love the idea of being with Luna.
yes. Isn't she just one of the most brilliant characters who kind of showed people it's okay to be weird and you don't have to fit in?
And is so comfortable with that persona.
Yes. I love the way she never had a dilemma of being herself. She was always very comfortable playing that role.
Yeah, it was a wonderful. I just recently saw the 20th anniversary, and I did not realize she had never acted before. Like,
Yes, wasn't that crazy? And
yeah,
she really
yeah,
was made for the role.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So when you have a piece, so like Tangled Thoughts, what do you hope that the reader takes away?
I suppose with all of my work, my main objective is getting it out there. So getting it published, getting it on social media, because one of the great thrills for me as a writer is hearing people come back and they'd always have a different perspective or they take something different away from it, something unique. So I love hearing that where people might see something in the piece that I didn't intend to write or I didn't see there. So that's a huge thrill for me.
So I write books, and for me, I just am so intrigued by the idea of writing plays. It's such a different approach to writing. Can you maybe talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think for me as a writer, I'm primarily a playwright, and I always will be. And I think I'm attracted to that medium because I love the idea of trying to put a person's life on the stage in 2 hours or 80 minutes or whatever it is, and trying each time to find out is that possible. Another thing I love about theatre is it's so collaborative, so you write the script, and then a director will bring their creativity to it. Actors will, a costume designer will, a lighting designer, a set designer. So it's very much a collaborative piece of all these various different talents. So I just love the idea of kind of a group of people in a room working towards something and trying to create something. But I recommend everyone give it a go. I definitely believe everyone has a play in them. Do you know? And we all are unique to our lives experiences. And I guarantee you, everyone's come across the moment in their life where they were like, this should be in a play.
Absolutely. So what's the most difficult part?
I suppose making realistic language because you're trying to create dialogue that tells the audience what goes on. But like realistically, no one enters a room and goes, hey, remember when you said da, da, da. So trying to make it sound natural and flowing. And I suppose I always try and get a bit of humor in there because you're asking the audience to sit with you for 80 minutes or 2 hours, so I like to try and relieve them a little bit with some dark humor.
I just think dialogue is really a challenge, and so kudos to
Thank
your
you so
success.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I think the humor piece is really important because you're right. You're drawing them in, and some people, you can kind of take them on the roller coaster of the highs, the lows. But if there's a thread that sort of binds everyone together, that's really amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really mind if someone comes out on my plays and say they didn't like it or they hated it, but I get really upset when people say, "Oh, that play was nice." Like, I just think that's so bland. Like, cake is nice. I don't want my plays to be nice. I want a reaction from you. You know.
So as you think about the future and future plays, are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I got a grant from ArtsLinks and I've been mentored by playwright Jim Nolan on a new play called Yellow Rose. It's very new. I've only started working on it the past 3 weeks, month or so, and I'll be working on that into the new year. So that's really good because it's a project that I can focus on that keeps me busy. And then, say, every couple of weeks, if I want a break to write a poem or a short story, I can.
Well, that sounds lovely. I think it seemed to me that Ireland has really done a lot for artists, especially during COVID. Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely. The Arts Council bought out the Agility Award, which was an award for 5,000, and they gave that to over 300 artists during COVID to keep them going. And then just in the southeast or my own area of Ireland, I'm very lucky because I have Conor Nolan, the arts officer for Waterford City, who's a huge supporter of the arts. And then in the west of Waterford, I've Margaret Organ, who runs ArtLinks. And they're just really decent people. They're very supportive and they want to see you succeed. So having that support behind you can mean the world to an emerging artist.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of support, the Layered Onion is a community of artists with mental and emotional health challenges. How was it that you found us?
I'm really grateful that I stumbled along the Layered Onion. I found you on Twitter, but one thing that I find very inspiring and very comforting is every so often you'll put up artist spotlight and just seeing other artists who are very successful in their chosen craft speak openly about their mental illness. I just think it's so powerful and important because it's letting people know and it's letting the younger generation know that there's no shame in this and that you can go on and be successful even with a mental illness. And I just think that's really important.
It has been really important for those of us that started the Layered Onion because we're all lived experience artists. And so it just, I think we were surprised though at the reach of artists coming from all over the world. And that's both the excitement of the internet, which sometimes can be really overwhelming when, especially with social media.
Yes, absolutely. I think social media can be very negative and very positive. I spend a good few months just blocking people on my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook page. So I've successfully just have my social media full of pictures of really cute animals or of artists or as organizations such as Layered Onion. Now that did take a good while for me to block all negativity, but I'm glad I did it because being disabled with mental illness means I don't get out as much. So social media is very much my social life at the minute.
Yeah, I have to say after, and this is, in the US, but after the 2016 election, I actually just got off Facebook. It was just more than
Yes,
I could handle. If you have anxiety, it was not a place to be.
it got very, very dark very fast.
Yeah, so I think hopefully it's better now, but I think that one, social media obviously brought you to us and brings us to artists from all over the world, and I'm very excited in this next shallot, we actually have an artist from Ukraine who found us.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, which is really amazing. And but you also, as you said, there's the part of social media that can overwhelm people who have mental health challenges. How do you have you found a way to balance those two?
Definitely my dog Ellie. Whenever I feel myself getting overwhelmed or anxious, I kind of turn off social media for a while and just play with her or give her some rubs or maybe have a nap. And it's just, I simply adore her. And she's so innocent in this crazy world, and she's so happy all the time with so little. I just try and learn to be like her, be present in the moment, and just be happy for my home.
What kind of a dog is Ellie?
When we got her, they said she was a purebred miniature Jack Russell, but I don't think she is. I think she's a Jack Russell mixed with something. I don't think she's a purebred.
Yeah, well, our animals are really precious to us, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, they completely light up our world with unconditional love. They're just lifesavers.
Yes, for sure. So, what has been the most valuable part of being in the layered onion or in the shallot? And what things would be opportunities for us in the future?
I think the community has been the most important thing. Like whenever you would post something on Instagram and tag all the artists and the issues, I would then follow those artists. So I've ended up having a couple of really interesting, supportive conversations with those artists, which I thought was really brilliant. And I just would urge you to keep coming out with more issues of Charlotte. I just thought the cover image on the first issue was so powerful. And I really enjoyed reading the first issue. So I would just encourage you to keep going with that.
Yes, and we hope to put out four issues a year. That is our
Wow.
goal. And right now, we're in the midst of this crowdfunding campaign, and part of it is to support distribution out to libraries and university libraries and others to just really help with educating on mental health and mental health in the arts. I think the arts can be quite healing, and that's both for the person that is developing the art, but also for those viewing.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think it's hugely healing. And I think as well, the arts can be hugely educational about mental illness. And it can kind of break down the stigma that maybe young people might have a fear about mental illness. So to get it out to the libraries would be an amazing achievement. And just spreading the word more and more that even if you have a mental illness, your life doesn't stop. You can go on and have a career in the arts and you could be very successful artist.
Right, correct. So do you have any words of wisdom you want to share with artists that face similar challenges?
And my main advice is just notice who's there on your dark days. I learned some very harsh lessons in the 16 months since I've been sick. I was really surprised by some friends who weren't there at all for me and the friendship ended. And then I was really surprised by my family and one other friend who really went above and beyond to look after me. So I just would urge people just notice who's there when you're a bit quiet, when you're not feeling great, and just maybe think about cutting ties with the people who aren't there.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Thank you for joining us today. It is an honor to talk with these amazing artists. You can see and read the artist's work in The Shallot, our journal of mental health, art, and literature, or on our website, thelayeredonion.com. Thank you.
A little